Now, the clergy used to be very respected in this country. In fact, in 1985, when Gallup did this poll on who do you trust, they polled different professions. When they asked about the clergy, do they have high or very high moral standards? 67% of Americans said yes. Okay. Well, they're the clergy. They're supposed to have high moral standards. That makes sense, right? Well, today, we don't believe quite as much. And obviously, a lot has happened since then to erode our trust. The sexual abuse that the Catholic priests apparently committed and we found out about later. And then, there's all this moralistic judgment on issues like not just abortion, but contraception, that the great majority of American people don't agree with, and they don't consider it immoral to take contraception. So they've lost a lot of credibility. And now only 47% say that the clergy have high or very high moral standards. So having lost 20 points there and now slipped under 50%, that's a fairly strong blow against the clergy in this country and against religion. And, being a person who doesn't believe in religion and doesn't believe it's headed in the right direction, I'm encouraged by that, because you shouldn't hand over your morality and how you choose to make judgments as a human being to someone else. And certainly not to a conduit middleman who oftentimes are just con men who are middlemen saying, oh, I'm talking to God and God says this. And this is my interpretation of some text written thousands of years ago. Now, when you look at the young, they're very much on my side. Ages 29 to 34, do you think the clergy have high or very high moral standards? Only 32% said yes. That's a devastatingly low number. So when O'Reilly says there is a cultural war going on, as I've often said, he's partly right about that. And when he says that he's worried that secularist left is winning, as I've often said, he's partly right about that. We are winning because you're on the wrong side, O'Reilly, and we're on the right side. And the young are on our side. They're not going to just go into church and say, okay, tell me what to think. Tell me what the sky god tells you to tell me what to do. How absurd is that? So yes, you've lost your moral authority. We are winning the cultural wars, and that's a sad day for you. But it's a good day for reason, logic, and hopefully making decisions based on rationality. Okay, now, among the most trusted of the careers, I'm always curious about this. Is there one career we still trust in America? Yes, it turns out it's nurses. They've been coming in number one for a couple of years in a row now. They're at 82%. Pharmacists, yeah, they're mixing the right amount of drugs for us. We're happy with them, 70%. Grade school teachers that the right wing constantly berate and attack are still at 70%. Doctors 69%, military officers 69%, police officers at 54%, and then you see clergy there at the bottom of that list at 47%. But there are people who are far less trusted, so let's keep it real with you, okay? So clergy, although they've slipped under 50%, are still hanging in there. These are the people not hanging in there. Advertising practitioners, 14%. Makes sense to some degree. Their job is to lie to you, to get you to. Now, they might be selling wonderful products, so they don't necessarily have to lie, but of course a lot of it is, and people are onto that. State office holders are down to 14%, and if you've seen some of the stories we've done on state office holders, you might know why, but there's also really good folks there too, so I feel actually kind of bad for that category. Car salespeople at 9%. I love the last two. Members of Congress at 8%, and lobbyists at 6%, dead last. So clergy, don't feel too discouraged. We don't hate you nearly as much as we hate lobbyists.